Okay. So, okay, guys, as we talked in last class, we are going to start a new topic today. New concept, which is an AWS. We will be starting, which is very important to start the, you know, so basically, even though if you are a developer or DevOps person or network administrator or DBA or most of the roles that is working in IT, right? Everything, most of the roles are involved with the cloud services. Okay, so that's why if you choose any of the role, right, other than the DevOps, they are also required to know about the one of the cloud service providers. So those could be, different vendors like AWS or GCP or Azure. Okay, so that is a very important to know about this. Especially as a DevOps person, you should be also knowing about it. Okay, so let's understand. So the basic concepts or the basic idea, general idea behind a cloud services. Okay, so this is we will talk it today, and then then we will do some practical and sign up something. Okay, so let's. I hope you can able to see my screen. I'm sharing my web browser here. Okay. Okay, let's get started here. See, um, you might have heard about the data centers, right? So these are the main things behind the any of the cloud services that we do have. Meaning, if you take any of these guys, right? If you take any of the AWS or Azure or GCP, right? They have their own data centers. Okay, those data centers are located in particular geographical location, and in that particular geographical location, they'll be dividing into the regions, realms. You will get to know these concepts, but these are some of the concepts we need to know, not the concepts or terminologies that we need to know. For example, if they have taken a place of 2 acres, in the 2 acres, they'll have a series of racks. In the racks, each one is like, one server. One server means, as you know, if you remembered in earlier days, right? Not like earlier days, 5 years back, or nowadays also we do have a dabba. Dabba means a CPU, right? A cabinet. Inside a cabinet, we do have a assembled of the hard disk, RAM, motherboard, and everything, right? This is also here in the data center on one rack. There is a huge server, uh, all box of it. Let me show you in a rack here. So, for example, this is a rack. Inside this rack, if you take one example here, right? If this is a rack, right? If you take this, right, there are different components will be involved. Of course, all are servers, but these servers would be different. Few servers are the storage servers, few servers are the compute servers, few servers are the network servers, few servers are the few servers are the storage related and all the stuff. But ultimately, these are all the compute resources. But yeah, please go ahead. Who is that? Any questions? Okay, fine. I think Sainath, you are asking something. Okay, if not, okay, it's fine. Okay, each server, for example, we have installed the Ubuntu server, right? Ubuntu server. Inside a server, there are some pre-installed softwares has been there presented, right? For example, database server, MySQL, email server is there, SMTP server is there, which is a email, SSH server is there, right? So meaning this particular server is dedicated or having all the servers installed. But in this case, in a data center, in a single rack, we do have a combination of the different servers. Those are the database servers, meaning again, it's a normal compute machine only, but that particular server is only allocated to the database related. Okay. And for example, if you take this, these are the compute related servers, meaning especially to compute powers. Compute means if you do some calculation, or if you run a Java program, it is applying on the CPU, right? Or it is consuming the more CPU and RAM, right? All these kind of servers processes will be running on these things we'll call it as a compute servers. Okay. For example, if you take a network related, for example, in AWS, if you use any of the network related service, right, all those services will be deployed or use these servers. So like that, what I want to say is, in a data center, one rack consists of a multiple servers. That servers will be, for example, compute, network, and all the stuff. What we are talking about here is, if you take any of the cloud service provider, right here, there are some services will be presented here. Each service could be, as I mentioned earlier, these are the network related, compute, network, storage, for example, network, compute, storage.
నే నవ్వద్దు అర్థమైందా చేసామా చేసామా నువ్వు నవ్వకన్నా
Can you mute us? You don't mind? Okay, I mean, this is not the SSH related. I mean, there are some other, for example, network related service, compute storage, and serverless services. I mean, it is like a quantum kind of thing, I could say, or something. I mean, for example, if you take these are the services which will be provided by the cloud servers, I mean cloud vendors. Okay, for example, in what they do is, they have in they establish this kind of racks. With the number of racks, they have configured like a data center. And with the data center, what they are doing is, they are providing a cloud services. I mean, they are providing these services via cloud. That is where they have mentioned that's the cloud services as I mean, cloud services they have been providing. It's like a giving a rent. We are, for example, we are taking a shamiana for rent, and then use it, and then give back them, and then we just pay the rent, right? Similarly, why do we need of all this is, in order to reduce the cost, in order to reduce the operations cost, in order to reduce the resource utilization, in order to reduce the heavy utilization, and meaning optimization of the existing resources. These are the possible ways, not like possible, these are the reasons which we adapted from on premises to a cloud services. Okay, meaning on premise means, for example, you have an idea, and that idea is like you want to publish a one e-commerce site. Okay, and for that, what you need a separate IT team. It's not like IT team, 1 or 2% at least they need to give. Development team and operations team. Apart from the operations team, operations could be maintenance, provisioning the infrastructure, take caring of everything. For apart from these are the resources, and apart from that, you need a physical place to run your server, meaning you should buy a 60 to 40 GB of RAM of a thicker machine. And even if you install the 60 or 40 GB of RAM server, it may not work for you. I mean, for example, if your idea is clicks, right, you can't able to utilize your server can't able to afford those servers. So if you remember, 7 years back, there is a something called OnePlus. I don't know. I mean, nowadays we are OnePlus. Initially, they have offered 1 rupee for cell phone, right? Especially early morning, 7 o'clock, they've opened a website, and within 5 to 10 minutes, the website is collapsed. because they have announced like 1 rupee you can buy a cell phone. That was very opposite to Flipkart at the time, and I was among them. What I was doing is I'm waiting to order a one cell phone for 1 rupee from one of my office network. So early morning 7 o'clock, immediately within 1 or 2 minutes the website is crashed. Till before 7 a.m. the website is very accessible and everything is fine. At 7 a.m. the website is collapsed. It was not at all. And they later, after 2 days, they have announced we have a heavy traffic and which we can't able to afford, or which we can't able to experience. I mean, they can't able to serve those many requests. That's why it is failed. Similarly, if your idea is also clicked, for example, if you allocated 40 GB of RAM mission, right? You need to scale your hardware. It will be take like lock. I mean, it will be take like a long time, and at the same time cost also. In order to, you have to scale your hardware resources, IT resources, and everything. But if you adopt this, whatever we discussed till now is the on premises. I mean, if you on premises means you have an idea, you have an in-house IT person, you have in-house IT development team, you have in-house infrastructure, meaning you have a dedicated server, dedicated power supply, dedicated internet cable. But if your powers, if your resources are running out of power or any of the things, right? You need to scale if your increase, if your user base is increased, right? If you start increasing like that, you have to horizontally increasing, or you have to do a vertically increasing it. If you do vertically, verticals, this is called horizontal scaling and vertical scaling, basically. Meaning, let me put it in a simple way, in a diagrammatic. Okay, this is your server which is having a 40 GB of RAM, right? And if you got a heavy traffic, what you do is you will buy one more server and add it to your server, something like this. Okay, and what you do is you will add one more server. Instead of 40, you would be replacing a 60. Even if your 60 is running out of resources, you would increase the 80 GB of RAM, something like that. At max 102 GB of RAM, you can buy it now. Nowadays, we can, if you want to buy a physical hardware which is capable of 1024 GB of RAM, that is the end of thing. There is no physical server available after 1024 GB of RAM. So this is called vertical scaling. Okay, you keep on replacing the existing server with the higher power server. That is called vertical scaling. Now, there is another alternative which you can follow in order to tackle these kind of an issues with the horizontal scaling. That is been from the uh, that is from the cloud services. What they do is they'd be, instead of vertically scaling, what they do is they will be applying horizontally, meaning in a small set of servers they will combine together and then provide you as a single set like this. Meaning, this is horizontally you are scaling. Each one consists of a 40 or 20 GB of RAM. What they do is they'll give as a single resources, as a single set, as a single unit, instead of having a one small thing, right? This is exactly the data center following, meaning horizontal scaling. That's how they could able to serve these many people. This is a small little bit history or problem statement how the cloud services has come up. But now let's back to our thing. These are the basic services behind a cloud services. What they do is, these guys, there are some vendors. Those vendors are AWS and GCP and Azure, Linode, I think Alibaba. Uh, there are small set of other cloud vendors also here. And of course, there is a top thing called PCI or OCI, which is related to the Oracle. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure or something. Okay, so these are the cloud vendors. These are the cloud vendors. They are providing a cloud services. Initially, the top leader is the AWS services. Why? Because this is a very cheaper than other services, and AWS is providing you almost a 250 plus services in their cloud. Okay, but for example, services in the sense, right, EC2, S3, Route 53, um, Route 53, Lambda, RDS. There are a lot of like this. There are, these services are related to different things. As I mentioned here, compute, network, and all. We'll talk about those also here. Okay. So basically, what I want to tell you here is that, just 1 minute, guys. They, each cloud vendor is being providing a different kinds of a services. 150 plus. Azure has almost have a 200 plus services they are offering. OCI is also almost near to 150 services. Okay, and Linode is also, I don't know, but I have recently I'm heard about these Linode cloud services, Alibaba, and lot of guys are providing a lot many services here. Okay, now if you categorize these services, there are some concepts they have been applying it. For example, what they are doing is there is something called SaaS here. They have categorized these terminologies into another terminologies. Those are called SaaS, PaaS, as. IaaS here. So what does it mean here is that these are the basic cloud principles or the services which every cloud provider is doing it. For example, SaaS means software as a service. What they are doing is they are providing you the software as a service. Basically, the example for this is, Gmail, Drive, Google Drive, Photos, right? So, or else, meaning, for example, if you take Gmail, right? Gmail is a software which will deals with the emails, right? You can send an email, receive an email, get the notification, get the calendars and everything, right? They are directly providing a software, and then you are directly using it. You are not maintaining how to install a Gmail in your system, or how to maintain that, what are the prerequisites for that. You are not doing anything other than just using the Gmail. You are directly end user of the software. So Gmail is one of the SaaS product. SaaS categorized. This is called a software. This is a Gmail software as a service. Drive is also similarly like this, or and even virtual desktop, or VBox. These are all the softwares directly you are using it. Okay, now there is something called PaaS, platform as a service. Platform means, for example, you have a Java application, or you have a Node.js application, you have a Python application. You required some platform, right? You required some platform here. Okay, and you require some platform here. That platform should be having required tools installed. That is nothing but a platform. For example, you required a Java related application, right? You need to Java required application. What they are doing is they are providing a one web server. That web server will be dealing with the your Java application. Example is Lambda service. Okay, Lambda service. For example, you have some tables, you require a database. What they do is you don't need to install database. You directly use a RDS service. This is an example for the one of the web server, or this is a serverless computing also will come as you under this. RDS. What they do is, if you want a database, what they do is, hey, I have one of the service called RDS. You can directly use that my RDS service instead of you need to install the RDS. You need to install them. Under the RDS, there are multiple databases: MySQL, PostgreSQL, MySQL, MS SQL, lot of databases are present under the RDS. Hey, I have these many databases of related to the structure SQL related databases. You can use anything. You don't need to install. You don't need to maintain. I'm just giving you the platform. You can use it instead of maintaining of all this. This is called a platform as a service. Simply, they are providing a platform here. And the next one is infrastructure as a service. Okay, infrastructure as a service means if you take an AWS, they are providing you an options to create a compute resources. EC2 is one of the compute here. EC2 means Elastic Cloud Computing, which is basically ECC, Elastic Cloud Computing. Simply in a shortcut, they are doing a EC2 here. Okay, what they are doing is they are providing an EC2 as a infrastructure to you, and then asking. I mean, you can use that server or infrastructure whatever you want. Meaning here, if you see here, you can directly use it. You don't need to maintain it here. You can get a one more level of depth, like you can use a database and you need to configure all the stuff in EC2 under the infrastructure as a service. What you can do is you can just simply install whatever you want. You can install a web server, you can install a software, you can install any of the tool, which is meaning they are giving a one more level of freedom, not like a freedom, one more level of requirements or customization in the infrastructure as a service. Okay, that's how these are the come into the picture, like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. If you take any of these cloud vendors, these are the basic principles. Only the difference is, for example, if Azure, if AWS is giving a SaaS service or 200, Azure would have given 100. That is only the difference. Major is not the difference. Okay, any questions, guys? Please let me know if you have any questions, because these are also some of the, I mean, these are the basic meaning. If you attend an interview, right, what they do expect you is these are all you would be knowing already, and then you are working. If you put your resume, I mean, if you put a AWS in your resume, these are the major assumptions that you already know what exactly the SaaS, PaaS, and as I mean, IaaS, infrastructure as a service, right? They will expect you this you should be knowing about all these stuffs here. Okay, and now another part is they are layering of all this like this as an infrastructure, PaaS or SaaS or something, right? And now these are the vendors, as I mentioned here: AWS, Azure, GCP, and all here, right? So why the AWS we are learning? Sir, why not we are learning Azure? Because the usage of AWS is very popular than the Azure and GCP. Okay, and there is some other thing called OCI also here. So this is a Oracle cloud infrastructure here. So these are the cloud vendors. Especially these vendors means each vendor has its own positives and negatives. Meaning there are two things here. There is something called public cloud services and private cloud services. Okay, public cloud services means these cloud services will be available for the public usage. You and me are the public. Organizations are not the publics. Okay, they are the private guys. So meaning AWS is a public cloud. They are offering a public cloud services and private cloud services. Okay, what does it mean is if you open your AWS account, you would see a list of regions, but there are some specific regions which are available only for the private usage, meaning especially organizations like top secret agents or banking services or whoever want to be isolated from public, right? They would be using the another private clouds. Okay, AWS is top at providing a public services. OCI is a top at the private cloud services, meaning Oracle is very good at. That's why it is not popular. I mean, not popular means for public use, for the public cloud services, AWS is good because the way how they offered is very cheap and very genuine and very easy to use it. But in case of OCI, OCI is also having a lot of services, but these are the private cloud services. Meaning, if you are a banking, all banking customers will adopt OCI because what they do is they'll come to your office and then set the entire data setup and then provide a dedicated infrastructure guys with the high security clearance of that to that particular persons, and then they will disconnect that particular data center from an outer side. That is how they do the they that's how they do offer us services to the private guys. The private guys can be a bankers or a telecom communication industry guys or the top secret agents like NIA, NSA, all our Indian, if you take example, or even CIA in US, because I work for these guys, right? These are very dedicated guys. Like we just need to prepare and then give it to them. Once we have hand over to them, they won't even give access to us. Well, if there is any issue, right, what we need to do is we have to go physically and then get a security clearance, that physically and virtually, then only they will allow inside of if to troubleshoot any of the issues. That's how these will do. I mean, Azure and GCP is also part of public and private cloud services, but these guys are not that much popular as AWS and OCI guys. Okay, now this is a basic history about it, and AWS is very popular. AWS, I mean, cloud services, which most of the organizations from top MNCs to till startup companies are using it. And even if you apply 100 jobs, and in among 100 jobs, almost 60 to 70% of companies or organizations using AWS. Nowadays, this number is getting decreased, and they are just simply saying the in the job description, the person who should be apply for this job should have a good hands on AWS, GCP, Azure, and they are putting everything. Instead of that, they can put directly like cloud services, whatever they want, if they can put something like that. But the basic thing is, even if you learn any of these cloud services, underneath the concepts are the same. Here we are calling it as a EC2. Somewhere in a GCP we'll call it as a compute. In Azure we'll call it as a another word. But the concept is the same. Terminologies are the different. But and at the same time, UI is also the UI of AWS is different from Azure, GCP, and OCI. Everyone will have their own, but the theme will be the same like these guys. Okay, and so you don't need to worry about if there's someone asks, sir, I have learned AWS only, but do you know about Azure? Yes, you can tell yes, but not I have not work experience, something like that, because the work that you have done is almost everything on AWS, but the UI will be the difference. And but the underneath of those AWS or Azure, the concepts are the same here. Okay, any questions, guys? This is just a small introduction about the AWS and all the stuff, a small background about it. I want a confirmation from everyone. Is it clear, or any questions on this? Please, I'm waiting for your response. Is it clear or not? You just need to know the basic or background behind it. Okay. Now let's sign up of this. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Naveen. Thanks, Saina. That's clear. How about others? I want a confirmation from others as well. Okay, Kiran. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Chandra. Thank you. Looks like few more guys are missing. Okay, let's get started here. Okay, so what we need to do is first we need to learn about first we have to get a sign up to the AWS account. AWS guys are, hey guys, before doing this, I want to some information from you guys. How many of you are worked in AWS? Did you guys worked anywhere in AWS earlier? Chandrasekhar, Kiran, Naveen, Sharanya, Saina, Tejasvi. I want an answers from you. Have you worked in AWS earlier?
No, but we are just learning about AWS now. Like
Okay,
we just started.
okay. You guys just started. Okay. Okay. Okay, cool. No questions then. Fine then. So yeah, why? Because but by having a basic knowledge. So right? Why I was stressing here is if we already know, right? We can just if you don't know, we can go in depth, one more level of depth. That is what I want to know. Should I go like directly, since you guys know the basic thing? Should I go directly and then talk everything, or else
Yeah,
should
we all know about the basic things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Okay, then let's complete of sign up here, and I would request you sign up AWS account, get a AWS account with the sign up, right? So I think when you're signing up, you required your debit card, to test.
We all have the AWS account.
Awesome then. Cool. So assuming you guys have an AWS account. Okay, now let me log into the but let's understand one more. Of course, I need to log into that, but I want you to understand the free tier part of it, because we have to be careful while using these AWS services. Otherwise, you will get a bill out of this. Okay, so when you are getting a free tier account, right? I'm just skipping since you guys already have an account here. So you need to just know like the basics. The free tier available, meaning AWS is offering a free tier services, which for most of the services you just need to aware of those free tier eligibility things. Totally, you can use your email or the free tier account only for 12 months. Okay, in the 12 months, for example, if you take any of the services related to the compute related services, what are all compute related services? EC2, Lambda, Lightsail, ECR, ELB. These are all the compute resources they are categorizing it. So, for example, if you take a EC2 compute resources, they are offering us 750 hours per month, basically. If you used your, until it's a 12 months basically free, and if you cross these 750 hours, you will be get charged based on the type of instances that you are using it. Okay, and one more thing is they are using only they are giving these things, T4G small. What does it mean is these are the instance types, which is kind of the capacity or the configuration of a mission or virtual machine we are going to use it. And one more thing is another type of thing is T2 micro, T3 micro, T4G small. These are the some of the services they are providing it. And one more thing is they are seeing these 750 hours is also not for every region. It depends on the region also, but most of the regions offer the same thing. Why? Because when you are launching or when you are using any of the AWS services in from a particular region, the cost will be a difference. For example, if you launch a EC2 on Ohio region, US East one region, if the cost is $0.5, if you think like, if you launch the same EC2 instance in the US East 2 region, the cost could be 0.75, or the cost could be less also. It will be depends. Why? Because the cost they have provided for that particular service in that particular region is may differ because of the the maintenance and their geographical constraints. Based on those, they are giving such kind of rate variations of different based on the different regions. Okay, and mostly they are offering the Linux, RHL, so C Linux, and Windows also. These are the things. And at the same time, before when you are using a free trial version of account, you just check these what are the available. For example, if you use the container services, right? For example, ECS. Totally, they are using a 2,200 hours per month they are providing, and this is only for the 6 months of, not the 12 months. Okay, this they have recently launched ECS Anywhere something. If you see here, ECR, Elastic Container Registry, which means Docker hub related things. They are totally providing a 500 MB of storage into the ECR registry for the 12 months. Okay, that's how. And the light sale, I was also not aware of this, but somehow some of the resources would be using some other thing. For example, if you check the storage related services, they are offering the S3 for 5 GB for the 12 months. And among them, they can only accept 12,000, I mean 20,000 get request and 2,000 put request. You can put your files or objects into only 2,000 times, not any other than that. So that's how, I mean, just before using it, you just come and see the basic free tier usage. They won't, I mean, some services they will get notify your free tier usage is completed, you are going to charge from now onwards. These kind of notifications you would be getting, but not for every services, but few services only. Okay, and these many categorization of the services they are offering, related to the robotics, related to the networking, related to the migration, related to the management, machine learning, and these many services they are offering as a free service. I mean, AWS. Okay. Now let's see what we are going to learn in the AWS, which is very important and required also. But if we want to learn these 250 services, it won't be good also, because none of the company used 250 services in the AWS. Only few, especially what are the famous is, especially these guys are using EC2 services, IAM services, load balancer, target groups. Again, it comes under the this thing, VPC, and API gateway. So these are the services they would be using for the AWS. Okay, and we will just use the RDS, but we won't be creating this also. Okay, um, these are all we would be using. We would be using it, and we will talk about API gateway and everything. Okay, especially you need to get hands on, except API gateway you need to get a hands on every other whatever I mentioned here, right? Everything you have to get a hands on except API gateway. API gateway is generally you would be creating it, but it will be used by the developers who would be using who would be exposing some APIs to the external world. Okay, and okay, let me log into my EC2 account. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so I'm gonna log into my AWS account, which I have already used. Since you guys already been used, right? I was just going to use this. And I'm directly going to the sign in. And instead of the sign in, I have some accounts here, 168 668. Okay, so my username is this. Okay, so basically what does it mean is uh, the one which I'm going to log in to the AWS account with the IAM user, meaning
We can't see your screen.
is it okay? Do you able to see now?
Yes.
Okay, so the one which I'm going to log in this account with this ID is as a IAM user, meaning most of the you guys would have been logged in with the root account user, meaning once you create any of the user, not like any of the user. Once you create a new account in the user, you would be the root person or you would be the root account for that owner. Okay, in an organizations you won't get the root account of AWS. You would be getting a IAM user. IAM user meaning under this account of this user with this password can able to log in this. Okay, your authentication information is incorrect, meaning they would be creating IAM users and send you the information to log into this account. Okay, meaning let me put it this way. 1 minute, guys. Let me log into this. Okay. Okay. Now I'm able to log into this. See here, meaning there is an organization or there is an account which is this. Under this account, I'm one of the IAM users. So I am logged in here. Okay, there is something called organization also. So when you join a company, right, most of every company what they do is they'll create an organization and then they will create a root account under the organization. Under the root account they will create a one IAM user for you guys. Okay, let me put it this way here, meaning what I want to say is most of the companies nowadays, right, what they're doing is what they are doing is they would be creating their own account in AWS. Under the own account, there is a one root user. Under the root user, this is nothing but an organization. Let me put it this way, like this. Root account, root account, or they will be creating a under the self-sign account or root account. What they do is they have a one administrator or a root account user. Under the root account user, what this guy do is if they want to access this AWS services, they don't give a admin access directly to other users. What they do is they'll create a IAM users. When they are creating IAM users, they'll give an apply some restrictions like they shouldn't use these resources. For example, I'm a root account. I'm the administrator. What I can do is if I create an account for Kiran, what I do is I can give only access to the EC2, but no other access other than the EC2. I can restrict these kind of things while creating IAM user itself. Okay. IAM, what does it mean is IAM is a identity access management is one of the services in AWS which is deals with the authentication and authorization. EC2 is one of the services related to the compute power, right? Similarly, IAM is also one of the service related to authentication and authorization. Okay, so this is one thing that like this he will be creating one IAM user, like this he will be creating a multiple IAM users, and at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the month, you will get a bill for whatever you want. Okay. That bill is you would be paying this on every month or yearly basis. Okay. So now this is what's happening from last 5 or 6 years. Nowadays, what is happening is, right? There's an account or organization. What they do is, I mean, of course, they won't do the organization if they are doing like something like this. What they are doing is, there are some companies, for example, Ticket Now, not like Ticket Now. There are some companies which I worked with them. There are some cloud vendors. What they do is they'll have a set of dedicated AWS people. All are AWS solution, AWS certified solution architects. And what they do is, for example, if you are if you are getting a bill of $2,000 per month, right? What they tell is, since if your bill is $2,000 per month, we will give you an offer 20%. What you need to do is you have to take a subscription for us from us yearly basis. So instead of $2,000 per month, what you do is you would be getting a 20% less, right? Meaning 400 you would be getting. I mean $1,600 you would be getting per month if you subscribe. What they do is they'll be taking a, let me put it this way, they'll take a AWS services, a pool of AWS services like this. What they do is they'll create a one main root account. Under the root account or admin account, under the admin account, what they do is they'll create an organization account, meaning they'll create a one organization account like this, and then they'll give you everything is same. Similarly, they will create another organization for another company, and then they will give you their own administrator account here, and then admin account here. uh, Under the admin account, again you can create a IAM user like this, whatever, however you created and everything, right? So this is way they'll give you offer of, instead of you paying, for example, these guys are initially they are getting 5,000 of bill, right? They'll, if they offer 20%, almost 1,000 rupees they would be, I mean $1,000 they would be getting an offer. Instead of getting a $5,000 bill, they would be getting a 4,000 bill. $4,000 bill they would be getting if they are giving an offer. So how do they get how do they give offer for this? For example, I'll tell you what is this guy ticket about I forgot that guy name. So meaning they'll take care of entire management of everything and they'll give a offer of 20% like this. uh, Among the $4,000 of a bill, you just need to 20% less amount for the 40 I mean $4,000. So how these guys are giving an offer means, what these guys will do is these guys will do tie up with the AWS directly. What they do is, hey, I have a 5 organizations like this. I do have a 5 organizations like this. I'm going to give a more customers to you. You have to give me a pool of resources. Meaning, what they do is, for example, These are the AWS company. I mean, these are the AWS organizations. Okay. What they do is, since these guys, for example, these guys are called XYZ. I forgot name to show you something. Um, ah, 1 minute. Cloud Keeper. To the new, right? See, Cloud Keeper is one of the product for these guys. To the new. Okay. See, to the new is one of the company. What they do offer is, they'll they what they do is, they will be providing you some kind of cloud environment. This is one of their services. What they do is, they'll be getting a, see, they can do a cost optimization of a 60%, something like this. They are providing all kind of AWS services. So all do they have is all cloud partitioning, consulting partner, everything they do they have. So what they do is, if we subscribe to the new company, what they do is, they'll create an AWS organization account to us. I mean, nothing difference from what we are doing on our self-managed. Okay. Only the thing is, we'll get some offer from a monthly bill. What these guys internally do is, they'll talk to this AWS directly, saying that I do have a bunch of 5 organizations, and they are using their average month bill is $2,000 or $4,000. So if you give me, I'll you can get more customers, but only the thing is, you need to give me only pool of things. What they do is, there are something called on spot and reserved instances. For example, if you take EC2, there is a concept called on spot and on demand instances and reserved instances, on spot instances, right? So what they do is, they'll take a lease of 5 to 6 years, something like that. So even if you use it or if you are not use it, you have to pay the bill. So in this time, this XYZ organization will make sure in the 5 years of time, they will definitely 100% utilization of like this. For example, if you are taking a 2000 bill for these organizations, right? For example, they have used only for EC2 service, right? What they do is, they'll give a $500 for EC2 only for 5 years. What they do is, they'll reserve it. They will reserve for 2 to 3 years. So this way they'll get a cheap of it. It's like a if you are planning to start a business, right? What you do? You would be take a lease of a one physical shop, right? For 2 years or 3 years. Once you take a lease of out of it, right? It's up to you whether you can use it or you don't use it, or you can overwhelm it or anything, something. Similarly, what they do is, they'll take a lease from AWS with a couple of years, and then in the couple of years, they'll try to accommodate with so many organization, and they will use 100%. This way, this XYZ also will get benefited, and at the same time, organizations also will be get benefited. So this is how this is to the new is one of the company. This is how they would be offering one of the solutions related to the cloud. Okay. So I mean, what I want to say is, once you log, your organization can be one of something like this. Because when I joined a company, right, I was totally did not understand why these guys are adopting something. Only the thing I know is, we are getting a 20% off on our monthly bill. That is the reason my company is adopted these guys. So that is, but I inquired like how they are getting a benefited, how we are getting a benefited, what is the internal process, and everything we are being getting out of here. Okay, I just inquired and I understood the process, how this internally is going, something like this. Okay. So why I have mentioned this is, most of the companies nowadays following the similar pattern. See, they are getting a 20% off, means it's easy, right? Even everyone, even you and me also can be changed to or adapted to this guy. Okay. It's not exactly the 20%, at least 10% if the difference, we will be adapting it, right? So you have to know if your organization is managed by the some XYG, or you are the self-managed of your own account. you have to know when you are join a company whether this account is managed by self or it could be some other, some XYG company like this. Okay, this way you will be easily understand. And even in interview also you can explain something like this. They'll understand you guys are really working, and this is how they will be knowing also. And one thing which I forgot to mention is, okay, let's back to our services. Okay, any questions, guys, so far? So yeah, this is where I have given. So there is a something called AWS organizations. The person XYZ will have an access of this. Under this, he will get to know how many organizations he have added. See, this is how they will be creating group accounts, applying the policies, something like this. Okay. And currently the one which I have logged in does not have a permissions to see the organizations here. Okay. Mm, you will achieve this concept through one of the service called AWS organization. Okay. Now let's see how many services like this. So these are the categorization of the services they have been offering. And for example, if you want to relate it to the blockchain or IoT or anything, you just select those particular categorization. You will see what are the services are available. But now we don't deal with any of the things, only just compute. Under the compute, these many services they have been doing it. Under the compute, EC2 that we have been dealing with that. EC2 means Elastic Cloud Computing. In shortcut, they are mentioning it as a EC2 here. Okay. Why I'm getting this error is because the permit I do not have a permissions to see how many instances, what are those, what are the load balancers, security groups, and everything, because they have given me an IAM user with the restrictions of S3 only, not with everything here. Let me check S3 here. I'm just checking the IAM user which I have logged in called Srini AWS. Do they have an access of um, do they have an access of S3 or not? I don't think so. Yeah, I think even I do not, this user does not even have an access of S3 also here. Okay. Yeah, any questions, guys? I think we can stop it from here and we can continue of creating AWS, EC2 and other services tomorrow. This is just a basic and introduction class about the AWS cloud. I hope this would help you on understanding some background history about the AWS also. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. Okay. Okay. I think fine. Okay. Let's continue, guys. Let's meet tomorrow, and then we'll create a EC2, VPCs, load balancer, target, everything. Right. Thank you.